Kimchi Dronie presents a master class of guitar and bass guitar rigs configurations plus more. Chapter 1. Wet, Dual Dry, Wet, Effects Configuration. From guitar to radial headlight 4-way splitter and amp selector input jack. From output number 1 of radial headlight to guitar in jack of vertex buffer interface number 1. From guitar output of vertex interface number 1 to input jack of Boss ES8 switching system. From output jack of Boss ES8 to input jack of Mesa Boogie preamp. From output A of Mesa Boogie preamp to left amp input jack of vertex buffer interface number 1. From left amp output jack of vertex buffer interface number 1 to amp input jack number 1 of Fender ML Hot Rod DeVille tube combo. From output B of Mesa Boogie preamp to input jack number 1 of Fender Hot Rod Deluxe tube combo amp. From the speaker input jack of Fender ML, run a line to the speaker input jack of Captor 8 attenuator and line out box. Run the speaker cable of the Fender ML to the -20 dB attenuation jack of the Captor 8. From the dry signal output jack of the Captor 8 to the send input jack of vertex buffer interface number 1. From the send output jack of vertex buffer interface number 1 to the input jack of Electric Mistress Deluxe flanger. From the output B jack of the Electric Mistress Deluxe flanger to the input jack number 2 of Source Audio Collider delay and reverb pedal. From the output jack number 2 of the Source Audio Collider delay and reverb pedal to the return input jack of vertex buffer interface number 1. From the return output jack of the vertex buffer interface number 1 to the FX loop return jack of Fender Blues Deluxe reissue tube combo amp. From the output A of the Electric Mistress Deluxe to the input number 1 of Source Audio Collider delay and reverb pedal. From the output jack number 1 of the Source Audio Collider delay and reverb pedal to the right amp input jack of vertex buffer interface number 1. From the right amp output jack of the vertex buffer interface number 1 to the FX loop return jack of Orange Rocker 15 tube combo amp. From the output number 2 of the radial headlight to the guitar in jack of vertex buffer interface number 2. From the guitar output jack of the vertex buffer interface number 2 to the input jack of Boss ES5 switching system. From the output jack of the Boss ES5 switching system to the left amp input jack of Vertex buffer interface number 2. From the left amp output jack of the Vertex buffer interface number 2 to the amp input jack number 2 of Hot Rod Deluxe Tube Combo Amp. From the amp speaker jack of the Hot Rod amp, run a line to the input jack of the Captor X and plug the speaker cable of the Hot Rod to the speaker out jack of the Captor X. From the amp speaker jack of the Blues Deluxe, run a line to the From output amp jack of the Head Load Prodigy attenuator and plug the speaker cable of the Blues Deluxe to the Head Load 50% to speaker cabinet jack. Orange Rocker 15 tube combo amp is so awesome, that does not need an attenuation box. The combo amp has its own integrated attenuation system. Run a line from Boss EV30 dual expression pedal to the expression pedal control input jack of the Boss RE202 Space Echo. Chapter 2. Boss RE202 Space Echo Configuration. Run lines from the input jacks A and B of the Boss RE202 Space Echo to the FX loop send jacks of the 2 Roland JC22 Jazz Chorus Stereo Combo. Run lines from the output jacks A and B of the Boss RE202 Space Echo to the FX loop return jacks of the 2 Roland JC22 Jazz Chorus Stereo Combo amps. Chapter 3. Effects pedals loop order on Boss ES8 switching system. Donner DT1 tuner connected to ES8 tuner input jack. Cali 76 compressor stacked with MXR6 band EQ connected on Boss ES8 loop number 1. Boss ES3 compressor stacked with Ibanez TS808HW tube screamer, MXR6 band EQ and Donner noise killer connected on Boss ES8 loop number 2. Proco RAT2 stacked with MXR6 band EQ and Donner noise killer connected on Boss ES8 loop number 3. Boss BD2 was a blues driver stacked with Boss HM2 was a heavy metal, MXR6 band EQ and Donner noise killer connected on Boss ES8 loop number 4. Boss MZ2 digital metalizer stacked with MXR6 band EQ and Donner noise killer connected on Boss ES8 loop number 5. From TC Electronics Spark Booster output jack to Big Muff Ram's head input jack. From Big Muff output jack to EQ2 input jack number 1. From EQ2 output jack number 1 to Spark input jack. From Boss ES8 send jack to EQ2 input jack number 2. From EQ2 output jack number 2 to ES8 return loop jack number 6. From Boss IR200 send jack to BK Butler tube driver input jack. From BK Butler tube driver output jack to Donner noise killer input jack. From Donner Noise Killer output jack to Boss IR200 return jack. From Boss ES8 send jack of stereo loop number 7 to Boss IR200 input jack. From Boss IR200 outputs A and B jacks to Boss ES8 return left and right jacks of stereo loop number 7. Boss EQ200 input A and B connected to send left and send right, output A and B on return left and return right on the Boss ES8 stereo loop number 8. MIDI cable connected from Boss ES8 to Boss EQ200. Fender ML Hot Rod DeVille Tube Combo Amp connected to the ES8 Control 1 to 2 for volume channel switching and amps boost mode activation. Chapter 4. Effects Pedals Loop Order on Boss ES5 Switching System. MXRCSP102SL script logo Dyna compressor stacked with Azor graphic equalizer connected to ES5 switching system loop number 1. Ibanez CP9 compressor stacked with MXR6 band graphic EQ connected to Boss ES5 loop number 2. Ibanez TS808DX tube screamer stacked with MXR6 band EQ and Donner noise killer connected to Boss ES5 loop number 3. Warm Audio Centavo stacked with Eno X EQ7 and Donner noise killer connected to Boss ES5 loop number 4. DG Tech Bad Monkey Tube Overdrive stacked with Eno X EQ7 and Donner noise killer connected to Boss ES5 loop number 5. Chapter 5. Bass Guitar Effects Pedals Configuration on Boss ES5 Switching System. TC Electronics Spark Booster connected on Boss ES5 Switching System loop number 1. Behringer Compressor Sustainer CS400 connected on Boss ES5 loop number 2. Tech 21 sends amp Getty Lee YYZ stacked with MXR6 band EQ connected to ES5 loop number 3. Behringer Bass Limiter Enhancer BLE400 stacked with Joyo 6 band EQ connected to ES5 loop number 4. Joyo 10 band equalizer connected to Boss ES5 loop number 5. From Boss ES5 output to Tech 21 GED 2112 Getty Lee preamp input jack. From Tech 21 sends amp GED 2112 Getty Lee preamp to Ampeg BA210V2 bass combo amplifier. Joyo EQ connected to GED 2112 Getty Lee preamp effects loop send and receive jacks. The The rack system has two sections that can be controlled individually with their respective level knobs for tone shaping purposes, a drive and a deep section. Also, each section has their own dedicated output, so both signals can be sent separately to different audio systems, two separate amps, amp and PA system, or amp and mixing console, or recording interface. In order to take advantage of the GED2112 dual preamp, you must have two amplifiers, or if you only have one, the amp needs to have two inputs, so in that way, the device's parallel feature can be utilized. If your amp only has one input, do not despair. All you need to do is send both output lines to dual 1/4 inch TRS female jacks merging into a 1/4 inch TRS male plug, so both signals can merge into the amp's input in stereo mode. It is imperative that the 1/4 inch male plug is a TRS plug, which it stands for tip ring and sleeve, and not TS or tip ring plug. TS cables only produce mono signals, TRS cables split signals in stereo mode. This will enable you to control both signals levels individually once the male TRS plug is connected to the amp's input. Tech 21 Steve Harris SH1 Signature Sans amp pedal stacked with Joyo EQ and connected to the Ampex effects loop send and return jacks. Chapter 6. Parallel, Serial, and Stereo Signal Configuration Example. Boss ES5 and ES8 switching systems allows you to place your effects in serial, stereo, and parallel configurations. You can also move your effects pedals order without the need of physically switch them from one loop to another. The letter V on the signal chain diagram acts as the signal's chain volume control. You can also move it in different locations according to which effect pedal's volume you want to control. In this configuration, I decided to place the volume control at the beginning of the signal chain in order to have overall control of overdrives and distortion effect pedals. Reverbs, delays and configurations MIDI pedals, I can always control their respective volumes and EQs using MIDI commands, and control presets, the options are limitless. In this Boss ES8 switching system configuration, a Kali 76 stacked with an MXR6 band EQ, are placed at the lower signal chain of the first parallel block. On the first parallel block upper signal chain, a Boss ES3 stacked with an Ibanez TS808HW, MXR6 band EQ, and a Donner noise killer, are placed. On the second parallel block, a Proco Rat stacked with an MXR6 band EQ, and a Donner noise killer, are placed on the block's upper signal chain. On the second parallel block, a Boss BD2W stacked with a Boss Hum2W, MXR6 band EQ, and a Donner noise killer, are placed on the block's upper signal chain. On the second parallel block, a Boss MZ2 stacked with a MXR 6-band EQ, and a Donner noise killer, are placed on the block's lower signal chain. Spark booster with big muff ram's head and a source audio EQ2 with integrated noise gate on second parallel block lower signal chain. BK Butler tube driver stacked with Boss Impulse Response 200 pedal on stereo signal chain. Boss EQ 200 on stereo signal chain. The signal chain will be divided in two channels for stereo splitting purposes. It can be shared with two amplifiers, or an amp and PA system. The decision will be yours to make. As previously mentioned, with the Boss ES5 and ES8 switching systems, you will have the freedom to move the effect pedals position as you please, without the need of physically switch them from one loop to another. This signal configuration is a good example of a parallel and serial combination. The parallels block upper signal chain has the Proco Rat, MXR EQ, and Donner noise killer, feeding into the Boss BD2W, Boss HM2W, MXR EQ, and another Donner noise killer. On the lower parallel signal chain, a Boss MZ2, MXR EQ, and Donner noise killer, are feeding into a TC Electronics Spark Booster, Big Muff Ram's head, and a Source Audio EQ2 with integrated noise gate. These type of parallel serial combinations creates a great palette of tonal options, especially when you have the advantage of switching effects positions, not only on one individual signal block, but in the entire signal chain. Chapter 7. Kimchi Dronie's main influences as a guitar and bass player and their rigs effects. David John Gilmour, born March 6, 1946, is an English guitarist, singer, and songwriter, who is a member of the progressive rock band Pink Floyd. He joined as guitarist and co-lead vocalist in 1967, shortly before the departure of founding member Syd Barrett. Pink Floyd achieved international success with the concept albums The Dark Side of the Moon, 1973, Wish You Were Here, 1975, Animals, 1977, The Wall, 1979, and The Final Cut, 1983. By the early 1980s, they had become one of the highest-selling and most acclaimed acts in music history. By 2012, they had sold more than 250 million records worldwide, including 75 million in the United States. Following the departure of Roger Waters in 1985, Pink Floyd continued under Gilmour's leadership and released 3 more studio albums. Pink Floyd's David Gilmour is undoubtedly one of the world's favorite electric guitar players. Across the planet, people who like and identify with all kinds of different music styles all seem to agree that Pink Floyd are ace, and they all love Gilmour's lyrical, melodic playing. He's one of those players who seems to just pick the right notes all the time. You can hum his solos, and they are integral parts of each song, regardless of how extended some of them become. Achieving this is no mean feat. Gilmour's ear for melodic nuance and dramatic phrasing are second to none, and his touch is unparalleled. The Kali 76 Stacked Edition is a dual-stage compressor pedal, using two Kali 76 compressor circuits cascaded in series for an ultimate compressed guitar tone. The Boss compressor is somewhere between the smoother-sounding studio compressors, like the Effect Road PC2A, and the slightly more aggressive Dynacomp. The CS3 has additional controls for adjusting both the attack and tone. The Dynacomp compressor is one of the most popular compressors of all time. Whether you want to tighten up your signal, add rich sustain, or create the percussive and clicky sound heard on numerous hit records, this pedal is straightforward and easy to use. The Ibanez CP9 compressor and limiter lets the artist choose his attack time, fast for smooth, tight control of signal attack, or slow for a more percussive attack, great for bass also. The tube driver is a booster and also overdrive pedal with an IC and vacuum tube-driven preamp circuit inside. It generates anything from a smooth, light overdrive tone, to a classic rock-style heavy distortion. At high gain, it is very reminiscent of the lead crunch tone of a Marshall JCM 800 amplifier. There aren't many dirt boxes that can match the Rat for flexibility. Its hard clipping distortion has been a pedal board staple for 4 decades and counting. The Proco Rat 2 is the modern iteration of this classic pedal. Produced from 1983 to 1991, and reissued in August 2021 under the Boss Waza line, the Boss HM2 Heavy Metal is a true legend in the history of distortion pedals. Its signature chainsaw tone with all knobs maxed is the defining voice of Swedish death metal. Designed especially to meet the needs of heavy metal and hard rock musicians, the MZ2 is a distortion effects unit with built-in digital chorus and doubling to produce the full-bodied, hard-edged distortion and powerful spatial effects very popular in hard rock music. David Gilmour used it to great effect on solos in the 70s, and self-professed Big Muff connoisseur, Jay Massis, used a ram's head Big Muff to carve out his unique sound in the 90s. The smooth yet aggressive response makes solos sing and chords roar, and it has made the ram's head Big Muff a staple since its inception. Ibanez TS808HW tube driver is hand-wired with select JRC4558D chips, same as the revered and often imitated TS808, and uses high-end, Japanese OFC cable, AWG21. Equipped with true bypass, this tube screamer sends pure guitar excitement to your amplifier with no tonal loss whatsoever. This state-of-the-art pedal packs a true stereo signal path and even the ability to apply a different preset to the left and right channels. The EQ2 programmable equalizer also includes up to 12 dB of clean boost for pushing the front end of your amp, perfect for punching up solos and song intros. The XO edition of the Deluxe Electric Mistress flanger pedal gives you the same great sound of the classic Deluxe but with some improvements and a smaller. Used by legendary musicians such as Andy Summers of The Police and David Gilmour of Pink Floyd to achieve beautiful, entrancing guitar sounds. Stephen Percy Harris, born March 12, 1956, is an English musician who is the bassist, keyboardist, backing vocalist, primary songwriter, founder and leader of progressive heavy metal band Iron Maiden. He has been the band's only constant member since their inception in 1975 and, along with guitarist Dave Murray, the only member to appear on every album. Harris was born at Whipps Cross University Hospital, in Leytonstone, then part of Essex, where he grew up aspiring to be a professional footballer. Scouted by Wally St. Pierre, Harris was asked to train for West Ham United. After gaining an interest in rock music in his early teens, he realized that he no longer desired to play football professionally. In particular, he was greatly influenced by the Beatles. Harris attended Leyton Senior High School for Boys, now Leyton Sixth Form College, where he studied architecture. Harris is often considered among the best and most influential progressive heavy metal bassists. He is regarded as the godfather of progressive metal bass guitar and the galloping playing style, usually an 8th note followed by two 16th notes at fast tempo, or 8th note triplets, which he plays with two fingers, rather than using a plectrum. Harris's playing is often unusually prominent in the mix on Iron Maiden's recordings. He generally uses a tone with a treble-heavy EQ and compression to accentuate the attack on the strings. Iron Maiden guitarist Jannik Jers has commented that Steve taught himself in a way that nobody can really copy it. People say it's like a lead guitar, but it's not. It gives the band a basis and it moves around quite a lot, but it's the tone that he has. Steve has a way of hearing things and a tone that isn't normally associated with a bass guitar. It's more like a rhythm guitar. Nobody gallops on the bass guitar like Steve Harris does, nobody, and I mean it. The Steve Harris Tech 21S SH1 features all analog sans amp technology, 2-channel modes with individual gain and level controls, blend, 4-band active EQ, and a byte switch to activate a Steve boost for extra clank and clarity. Other features include chromatic tuner and an XLR output to go direct to the PA desk or studio board. When Tech 21 sent the original prototype of the pedal to Steve while in rehearsal with British Lion, he had this to say: "The tour is going fantastic. And the reason it's going fantastic is this little thing here. It's unbelievable. Andrew Barta is a real technical expert. Because he's managed to simulate my EV speaker sounds, which I love so much. And it's in this little box. Whatever he's done, he's made this thing sound like my sound. So, well done, mate." Geddy Lee, born Gary Lee Gershon Eliezer Weinrib, July 29, 1953, is a Canadian musician, best known as the lead vocalist, bassist, and keyboardist for the progressive rock group Rush. Lee joined the band in September 1968, at the request of his childhood friend Alex Lifeson. An award-winning musician, Lee's style, technique, and skill on the bass guitar have inspired many rock musicians such as Cliff Burton of Metallica, Steve Harris of Iron Maiden, John Myung of Dream Theater, Clay Claypool of Primus, Steve DiGiorgio of Sadus, Death, and Testament, and Tim Comerford of Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave. Along with his Rush bandmates, guitarist Alex Lifeson and drummer Neil Peart, Lee was made an Officer of the Order of Canada on May 9, 1996. The trio was the first progressive rock band to be so honored as a group. In 2013, the group was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after 14 years eligibility. Geddy Lee has been using Sans Amp in his live bass rig since 2001. He teamed up with Tech 21 to create the GED 2112 Geddy Lee Signature Sans Amp. Two internal preamps allow you to dial in two distinct tones. Its drive preamp section, based on the Sans Amp RPM, covers a wide sonic range, while the deep preamp section delivers boosted low-end for fat, round tone, with saturation that ranges from clean to tube like grit and compression. And with an EQ curve based on Geddy's exact specifications, there's a world of tone to explore with the Tech 21 Geddy Lee Signature Sans Amp. The Tech 21 Sans Amp YYZ pedal is a portable alternative to its big brother, the GED 2112 Geddy Lee Signature Sans Amp. It is a desk-styled version of the rack mount into a pedal format. The Sans Amp YYZ offers Geddy's core sound and the versatility for many different styles. Chapter 8. Pedal boards, components, effects, amps, and recording gear. Vertex Effects Tour Elite 29 inches by 15 inches pedal board V2 with TE1 riser. Vertex pedal board AC power module, Vertex pedal board buffer interface. Boss ES8 effects switching system, Strymon Zuma power supply, Strymon R30 power supply extension, 3 Strymon O-High extensions. Origin Effects Cali 76 Stacked Edition, 5 MXR 6-band equalizers. Boss ES3 compressor sustainer, Ibanez tube screamer TS808HW. Proco Rat, Boss BD2 blues driver, Boss HM2W heavy metal, Boss MZ2 digital metalizer, TC Electronis spark booster, Big Muff Ram's head. Source Audio EQ2 MIDI pedal, BK Butler tube driver. Boss IR200 MIDI pedal, Boss EQ200 MIDI pedal. Electro Harmonix Electric Mistress Deluxe, Source Audio Collider Delay and Reverb MIDI pedal. 5 Donner Noise Killers, Donner DT1 Tonner. Vertex Effects Travel Plus 20 inches by 11.5 inches pedal board V2 with TP1 riser. Vertex pedal board AC power module, Vertex pedal board buffer interface. Strymon Zuma power supply, Strymon O high power supply extender, Donner DT1 tuner, Ibanez CP9 compressor sustainer, 2 MXR 6 band graphic equalizers. MXR Dynascript version compressor and sustainer, Ibanez TS808DX tube screamer, Warm Audio Centavo overdrive, Bad Monkey tube overdrive, Azor graphic equalizer, Eno EQ7EX graphic equalizer, 3 Donner noise killers, Joyo 10 band graphic equalizer. Vertex Effects Travel Light 17 inches by 10 inches pedal board V2 with TL1 riser, Vertex pedal board AC power module, Vertex pedal board buffer interface, 1 Spot Pro CS12 power supply, TC Electronis spark booster, Behringer CS400 compressor sustainer, Tech 21 Sans Amp YYZ Getty Lee pedal, MXR 6 band equalizer, Behringer bass BLE 400 bass limiter enhancer, Joyo 6 band equalizer, Joyo 10 band equalizer, Donner noise killer, Donner DT1 tuner. Mesa Boogie Studio preamp. Sans Amp Tech 21 GED 2112 Getty Lee signature preamp. Behringer Ultragraph FBQ 6200 HD 31 band stereo graphic equalizer. Presonus Quantum 2626 audio interface. Sans Amp Tech 21 Steve Harris signature SH1. Focusrite Scarlett Octo Pre 8 channel mic pre-expansion. The radial headlight guitar amp selector toggles and stacks amps to provide all the experimentation you can handle. Radial's Class A input buffer preserves the natural tone of your guitar, while a drag control lets you recreate the response of plugging directly into an amp. Toggling occurs via a single switch to avoid overcomplication. A separate switch either mutes all signals between studio takes or serves as an AVY to stack 2 amps on stage. Also, the radial headlight can be used to send your guitar's dry signal to 4 individual pedal boards, 2 pedal boards and 2 amps, or 3 pedal boards and a recording interface in order to capture your guitar's dry signal in case you need to reamp your effects later. Donner Circle Looper is developing the latest generation of Donner Looper effect, closer to customer needs in functionality. 44.1 kHz 24-bit high-quality looper and drum machine. 100 different drum groups from 10 unique music styles. 10 types of metronome settings to choose from. The display shows the duration of the current recording cycle and loop mode, record, overdub, play. Unlimited dub tracks. Up to 4 minutes of recording time per each track, 40 preset slots and 160 minutes total recording capacity. The Roland RE201 Space Echo stands tall as one of the most innovative and inspirational delay effects units in music history. Nearly 50 years later, the distinctive echoes and unique character of the RE201 is revived in the Boss RE202 Space Echo digital delay pedal, meticulously crafted to deliver 1:1 performance yet packaged in a pedal board-friendly enclosure. One look is all it takes to see that the RE202 is no mere clone. Space Echo diehards were happy to see all 11 original Echo combinations on tap, with an additional 12th coming courtesy of a 4th tape head. Classic controls for bass, treble, repeat rate, and more will feel familiar to experienced users, yet easy enough for first-time players to access that special Space Echo charm, with added saturation and wow and flutter knobs to dial in extra color and modulation, respectively. Chapter 9. Amplifiers and microphones used for live presentations and studio recordings. The Hot Rod DeVille ML amplifier delivers beautiful tube tone with features inspired by instrumental solo artist, world-class sideman, session master, and player's player Michael Landau. An influential guitarist known for creating rich, expressive tones, Landau has used Hot Rod DeVille amps on stage for many years, with a special 2-amp setup fed by a variety of stomp boxes. Designed in conjunction with Michael Landau, the new ML model is based on the Fender Hot Rod DeVille 3, with tube circuitry and 60-watt output, two 12-inch speakers, spring reverb, and an effects loop. The ML version UPS the ante by incorporating several cool features that guitar players are sure to appreciate, such as volume switching and boost capabilities. An updated version of the legendary amplifier that's been the heart of many guitarists' rigs, the Hot Rod Deluxe 4 features modified preamp circuitry, smoother sounding spring reverb and updated aesthetics that any player is sure to appreciate. A supercharged amp decked out with player requested features, this scorching 40-watt 1x12 combo is ideal for guitarists who need hot rod power with performance to spare. A must-have for gigging guitarists worldwide and the ideal 1x12 amp for crafting your own signature sound. Pro rock, country, and blues players guitarists everywhere prize no-frills amps for their great volume, reliability, responsiveness to effects pedals, and affordability, and the 40-watt Blues Deluxe reissue gives those players the fantastic warm boutique tone and sharp vintage-style tweed look they crave. Again, a must-have amp that takes you back to Fender's original era and sound. In the early 2000s, a new era of high-gain orange amplification tone was ushered in with the Rockerverb series of electric guitar amplifiers. The All-Tube Rocker 15 is the culmination of over a decade of fine-tuning that game-changing amplifier. The 15 offers an easy-to-use clean channel and a dirty channel that will take you anywhere from classic British crunch to the very heaviest in modern metal. Add in power scaling and switchable attenuation, and there's nowhere the Orange Rocker 15 can't take you. The JC22 Jazz Chorus delivers Roland's signature JC tone in an ultra-compact 30-watt stereo guitar combo amp. In addition to classic Jazz Chorus cleans, the JC22 includes the famous dimensional space chorus effect. With 30 watts of power and two custom-designed 6-1/2 speakers, the JC22 is perfect for home practice as well as for low-volume rehearsals or gigs. The JC22 features front panel stereo inputs, true stereo reverb, and a stereo effects loop, switchable from series to parallel, for integrating external effects processors. The effects loop also make the JC22 ideal for use with amp modelers, multi-effects, and even synthesizers. Ampex BA210 bass combo amplifier is ready for your next gig. Thump with two 10" drivers and attack with the 1" piezo driver and the grit-giving scrambler overdrive. With the 3-band EQ, ultra-high and low-tone shaping, and HF mute, you get pedalboard tweakability without the pedals. All of the controls have been moved to the amp face for easy accessibility while using the BA210's biggest new feature, the 60-degree wedge. Put the BA210 on its side in floor monitor position and focus your bass towards your face. Classic sound in a whole new package, the Ampex BA210 bass combo amplifier has been redesigned with your next gig in mind. The E906 is custom made for demanding instrumental use. It has a very fast transient response, which makes it ideal for guitar leads and percussive sounds. In addition, the E900's frequency response of 40 Hz 18 kHz can handle instruments from toms and congas to triangles and quickas. The third position attenuates the presence range, with a mid-frequency of 4 kHz, for the E906 features a switchable presence filter which allows you to tailor the sound characteristics to different sound requirements and styles. The filter is adjusted via a slide switch on the microphone. The switch has 3 positions, one boosts the presence range. The normal position is great for classic rock, and the third position for warm and smooth jazz and blues sounds. Chapter 10. Kimchi Dronie's Battle Axes. A short factory-run limited edition hand-stained ash American Standard Series Strat with humbucker, single coil, humbucker pickup configuration. This supercharged Strat comes out with a solid ash body in combination with a maple neck. Flat top, as it is tradition for Strats, it features no binding. The pickguard is there, the classic Stratocaster 3-ply black-white-black pickguard. Fender celebrated the Diamond Jubilee of the world's greatest electric guitar with the limited edition 60th anniversary American Vintage 1954 Stratocaster. Only 1,954 of these once-in-a-lifetime instruments were produced worldwide. Never before has there been a more perfect reproduction of the guitar that changed everything. The two-piece ash body features a side seam and a flash coat lacquer finish in the guitar's original two-color sunburst. The one-piece maple neck has a comfortable 1954 profile and date stamp just below the truss rod adjustment nut. 3 new 1954 single-coil Stratocaster pickups deliver a singing original-era voice, with 5-way switching complemented by an included optional 3-way switch for original wiring. The Fender 75th Anniversary Commemorative Stratocaster is a limited edition commemorative 6-string electric guitar created to celebrate Fender's 75 years of musical history. The 75th Anniversary Commemorative Series sport 2-color bourbon burst finishes, bespoke pickups and an anniversary headstock badge. The 75th Anniversary Commemorative Stratocaster employs an ash body and bolt-on maple neck in a modern C profile, which fits comfortably in the hand. 2X custom shop Fat 60s single coil pickups are found in bridge and neck positions, with a custom shop Fat 60s RWRP single coil in mid provide a sweet tone with low end punch. A 2-point synchronized tremolo bridge with bent steel saddles, pop-in tremolo arm and cold-rolled steel block sits alongside modern locking short-post tuners, presented in gold. The Gibson Les Paul Studio Plus is celebrated by live performers and session players alike. This Sweetwater limited edition exclusive Gibson Les Paul Studio Plus covers even wider sonic territory with its coil-splitting 490R498T humbucking pickups. This combination unlocks plenty of creative textures to flesh out musical ideas, from classic cleans and modern crunch to single-coil spank. Spec'd with a stunning AA maple top and eye-popping custom nitro finish, this Studio Plus also benefits from an ultra-modern weight-relieved body. This reduction of more than a pound in weight provides extra comfort for extended sessions and performances. A feature your fingers will thank you for is the slim taper mahogany neck, which recreates the speed and playability that 60s Les Pauls are famous for. Dependable Grover Rotomatic tuners keep this axe pitch perfect and ready to rock. The Steinberger ST2 FPA solid body electric guitar represents Ned Steinberger's assault on the state of the guitar art, the Synapse series. From its dramatically unique visuals to the sophisticated engineering of its subrosonic neck, every facet of the ST2 FPA's design works together to give you incredible playability, tonal versatility, balance, and stability. The 28 and 5 and an 8 inches scale and integrated capo system let you go from baritone to standard to tenor voicings and beyond, while onboard humbucking and piezo pickups give you ultimate sound shaping control. The Steinberger XS1 FPA Custom 4-string bass joins Steinberger's latest tribe of cutting-edge Synapse instruments. From its unique headless appearance to the complex engineering of its subrosonic neck, every element of the XS1 FPA Custom's design was expressly chosen to create a highly stable, ultra-playable bass. Ned Steinberger has long been famous for designing some of the most comfortable and balanced basses the world has seen, and he's applied all that expertise to the Synapse collection. Incredible humbucker piezo tone coupled with the ultimate in reliability, the Synapse XS1 FPA Custom is a true player's bass. Sporting a toneful African mahogany body, a gorgeous poplar burl top, and a rock-solid 5-piece Ponga Ponga purple hard neck, the SR1600D is a boutique-quality instrument with flawless playability, looks, and tone. A pair of Aguilar DCB pickups react exceptionally to your playing style while imbuing monumental sustain. The 5-piece neck is titanium reinforced, with premium tuners on one end and a monorail bridge at the other. Round it out with custom Ibanez electronics and 3-band EQ, and you get a full-force 4-string bass that's perfect for every playing situation imaginable. Epiphone's viola bass harkens back to the glory days of the British invasion with modern touches that distinguish it from the similarly shaped vintage model. The laminated maple body is topped with a flame maple top with the Okame top set maple neck rounding out the basic feature set. The viola bass boasts a pair of mini humbuckers to handle the amplification with chrome hardware accents. Tap into the classic warm bass sound of a famous group of lads from Liverpool with the ultra-affordable viola bass. The Epiphone Embassy earns every letter of its name, standing proudly as a tribute to the 1963 original. And it's better than ever, boasting improved balance and looks with a 2-per-side headstock and an extended upper horn. It's also equipped with ProBucker 760 bass pickups that replicate the original Gibson mid-1960s Thunderbird pickups, as well as cool original barrel-style knobs for volume, tone, and blend. With its solid mahogany body, mahogany neck, and Indian laurel fingerboard, this bass has a rich, thumpy, warm low end and smooth playability. This concludes Kimchi Dronie's presentation. Hope you enjoyed this master class, and thanks for watching.